Right now, the education and dreams of 222 million children are at risk. We all know going to school can be life-changing, but for refugee children in conflict zones and crises, especially girls, it can literally save lives. Joining me now is Yasmine Sherif. She's the Director of Education Cannot Wait, the UN's global fund for education in emergencies and protracted crises. Yasmine, what is Education Cannot Wait? What is the cause you stand for, and why is it important?
Well, Education Cannot Wait is the first United Nations global fund for education in emergencies and protracted crises. Back then, there were 75 million children and youth whose education was disrupted. Today, there are 222 million of them. But we were established in order to address that funding gap, but also quality.
Why is it important that so much focus is directed toward this cause of education in emergencies?
You know, I'm a human rights lawyer by training, and I can say today, as I have finally matured a bit, that education is the very foundation for all human rights. It's the one fundamental right that if that was delivered to every child and every adolescent on the globe, and especially those left furthest behind in conflict as refugees, in climate disasters, not to forget that they have enormous resilience, they need opportunities as well. If we deliver education, a holistic quality education to them, they can unlock all other human rights, all other sustainable development goals. You cannot achieve gender equality without educating all girls. How can you end extreme poverty if you cannot read or write? So education is that magical key, the foundational key for all other rights.
Well, it unlocks human rights, but by doing so, it unlocks children's potential. That's the way I think of it as well, even broader than that. Yasmine, here in Canada, like around the world, parents know the importance of education for their children. And while families here have had to navigate the restrictions of COVID-19, like almost everywhere else around the world, most Canadian children have access to stable and effective education. But what they may not know is that, as you said, 222 million children around the world today have their education. It's in the process of being disrupted or stopped or needs support. Now, World Vision is one of the many organizations that's supporting the 222 Million Dreams campaign with ECW. Tell us about that campaign. What's the reason for focusing on this?
Well, that goes back to what you were saying. Education, when you give a holistic child-centered education, which entails the full spectrum of learning and growing and maturing to realizing your potential, to be able to tell your story one day to the world. That is what the dream is about. And here we speak about 222 million dreams. It is about the dream of everyone, each and every one of these children who are today suffering, enduring, resilient as they are in the refugee camps, in the Sahel or IDP camps, or among host communities, those who have fled an international border as refugees, those who have stayed in Aleppo, or who live in the countryside of Afghanistan in the mountains, or the Rohingya refugees as Cox's Bazar. They've lost everything, but you cannot take away their dream. If you give them the education that they deserve and are entitled to, you can also sustain their hope.
In my travels, I've had the privilege of sitting down and talking to some of the children that this program, this campaign might ultimately support. I remember being in the Central African Republic just before the pandemic in one of the conflict-affected areas in an internally displaced people's camp, and talking to a couple of young girls, adolescent girls. And they had come from a situation where their villages had been bombed. They had witnessed unspeakable violence and tragedy. They were living in makeshift shelter, not enough food, not enough water. But when I asked them what they wanted, they said, we want to go back to school, because they knew that was the potential. That was their dream. And if this campaign can rally the kind of support that's needed to help girls like that, and 222 million more, I think that will be so critically needed.
I've seen adolescent girls on the border to Somalia, in Ethiopia, strong, powerful. I see future leaders in them, and they say, I do not want to get married at the age of 15 and have children. I want an education. And I look at them and they humble me, and I see future women leaders of the world, or a Venezuelan refugee in Colombia. And I know that World Vision is part of the NGO consortium there. And I asked her, what do you want to do when you grow up? What is your dream? I want to be a lawyer. I said, why? So I can help other people. They never need to experience what I and my family have gone through. They want to be teachers, nurses. It's interesting because all of them want to do service. Very seldom do you come across a child that is very selfish and wants to do something. I want to be a millionaire. No, they want to service. They want to do service and help others. And that's why I think that these 222 million children and youth, if they get a good, proper quality education, they may actually turn humanity around and put us back on the right path again.
What Canadian parents may not know is that education goes beyond just providing the ability to read and write. It protects children from violence. It has an impact on reducing child marriage. It saves lives.
The school environment provides a multitude of services that are centered on the child's needs, and to recover and to learn and to, as you said, achieve their potential. And then again, protection too. And we have that as another priority. To and from school, you have transport so that you don't need to walk long distances and risk being kidnapped. Boko Haram in Nigeria or in Afghanistan.
World Vision's really been proud to host the Refugee Education Council, which has been supported by the Government of Canada, which actually gathers youth from displacement settings around the world and actually lets them speak directly into some of these conversations at the government level here.
Yeah, but I can say I've been out there, across Latin America with the Venezuelan refugee crisis, and also in Africa, and seen the work of World Vision. You are an incredible partner for Education Cannot Wait. And you are so close to the communities and the children that we serve. And that's precisely what Education Cannot Wait is about, the localization and to not leave anyone behind. We will be able to make it happen. It's not an impossible dream. It's a very logical one. Very logical. It's just as logical as when you prepare a budget for Canada or Sweden in the education system. It takes money, a budget, a program, a strategy, a plan, good implementers, and it's possible. So if we share, we can make it happen. It's absolutely possible.